Greetings, friends. I'm your fellow film fan and ambassador host for Monday at the Movies, the weekly classic film series presented by the historic Wayne Theater Ross Performing Arts Center right here in Waynesboro, Virginia. As we know, the theater is temporarily closed due to the government restrictions on social gathering. But while this is underway, and hopefully it'll be over sooner than later, many of our Monday night film fan patrons have been following the scheduled movies from the safety of their homes over the last few weeks. It's a great idea. Please continue to do so. I've been following them with you. And when this is all over, which the clouds are beginning to part, we'll be able to compare notes on some of the films that we would have enjoyed on the big screen there at the historic Wayne Theater while all the lockdown has been underway. So the film that was scheduled for Monday, May the 11th, big hit movie, and a very important film, incredibly successful film, from 1984, Amadeus, directed by Milos Forman, starring F. Murray Abraham, Tom Hulce. It was nominated for several Oscars, Best Editing, Best Cinematography, and for Best Actor in a Leading Role, Tom Hulce. More about that in just a moment. It won eight Academy Awards. Best Makeup, Best Sound, Best Costume, Best Art Direction, Best Screenplay, Best Director from Mr. Milos Forman, and the second nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role for the same movie, a rare occurrence. The Oscar went to F. Murray Abraham for his performance in this film. It's an amazing performance. The Golden Globe Awards also went that year to Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Actor, once again, F. Murray Abraham, and Best Picture of the Year. Tom Hulce was a most unlikely candidate to be cast in the role of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He had actually made his debut a few years earlier in the film Animal House. You can't imagine a film more different than Amadeus, but somehow or another it worked. Once again, in a quirky twist of casting, the role of Austrian Emperor Joseph II was given to Jeffrey Jones, who many of us more popularly recognize as Principal Ed Rooney in the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So this is just a really outside of the box idea of casting for this film. F. Murray Abraham played the role of Antonio Salieri, who was a court composer for the emperor and an arch rival of Mozart. 134 screen credits for this talented actor and still going strong. In fact, F. Murray Abraham learned to read and conduct music for his role in this film. In fact, several professors of music in prestigious learning institutions across the country and the world remarked that after watching this film and seeing the people performing and what they were hearing, it was all done correctly. In other words, what you see in this film being performed is actually being performed correctly by the actors on the screen. An amazing accomplishment. The performance of one of Mozart's most celebrated pieces, Don Giovanni, in the movie, was filmed on the actual same stage where the opera first appeared. Incredibly a moving experience for the entire cast and crew. In preparation for his role as Mozart, Tom Hulce, interestingly enough, studied footage of temperamental tennis star John McEnroe's on-court tantrums. Very interesting to see that incorporated into his role as Mozart. Additionally, Tom Hulce played a little guitar, not much else, before this film, being cast in this film as Mozart. And director Milos Forman said, "Don't worry, you don't play the piano and you're not a composer. We'll film around you, we'll make it work." Tom Hulce said no. He spent 6 months, hours every day, learning to play the piano and learning to play every piece that you see him playing in this film correctly. An amazing accomplishment for an unmusical type of actor. The soundtrack of this film, composed of Mozart's incredible work, rose very high in the Billboard annual album charts that year, making it one of the most successful classical music albums of all time. The film, ironically, also helped spark a revival of Antonio Salieri's music, which had languished in relative obscurity up until that point. The movie, incredibly, was shot without any modern lighting techniques. In other words, there was no lighting, film lighting. It was all done with natural light in the film. An amazing accomplishment. Check this out. Mel Gibson, Mick Jagger, Tim Curry, Mark Hamill, Peter MacNicol, David Bowie, Mikhail Baryshnikov were all tested for the role of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in this film. It finally trickled down to the most unlikely actor of all, Tom Hulce, and he got his Best Actor nomination for it. It's an amazing performance. No major studio was interested in financing a 3-hour biographical picture of a classical music composer. One studio, however, offered to fund the film on the condition that director Milos Forman cast Walter Matthau in the role of Mozart. Once again, a most unlikely casting choice. Mr. Forman refused, and once again the role trickled down to, who could have imagined it, Tom Hulce. In 2019, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically a very significant motion picture. We won't disagree. Maurice Jarre, another very famous and accomplished film composer, in his speech at the Academy Awards that year, accepting his Oscar for his score for the film A Passage to India, made an end joke saying, "I'm just certainly glad that after 8 Oscars that Amadeus was not nominated for Best Original Score, because who would have accepted the Oscar? All the music is from Mozart." And rose a little trickle of laughter throughout the Academy Awards ceremony that evening. There's a big, big hit movie. If you're a fan of Mozart, if you're a fan of classical music, if you are just curious, you will be a fan of classical music after you see this movie. If you're a fan of great, great motion pictures, do not miss Amadeus from 1984. Until we meet again, my friends, this is your fellow film fan and host of Monday at the Movies at the historic Wayne Theater, Jimmy Overton, saying, make it a double feature. Thank you.